This is the acting Premier in Victoria being questioned about Daniel Andrews in China. Let's listen in.
My community of Bendigo was helped shaped by the Chinese migrants who came out as part of that gold rush wave in the 1850s. There is these deep connections, cultural connections, and there's the opportunity to also further develop the strong trade, jobs and investment, because this is vitally important as we look at whether primarily focusing on international students. I know, as has been reported, the Premier also had discussions around investment in clean energy. Cities and countries around the world are all working really hard on the transition to a cleaner energy system. China's doing that, Australia's doing that, America's doing that. I could just about list every country in the world that's working on this. So it's entirely appropriate that these sorts of matters are discussed between the Premier and the officials he's meeting with in China. Well, I think we covered this at pretty good length on Tuesday, as has been already discussed at some length. This is very much a set of business meetings that the Premier is holding to re-establish those strong relationships post the pandemic, and also to have discussions. I'm confident there will be future visits to China, to other countries around the world that are important, both trading partners, if you like, in terms of that exchange of goods and services, and particularly for our primary producers. China's a really big and important market, as is India. I'm certain there will be other trips. Each overseas visit, whether it's with a Premier or a Minister, has a particular focus, has a particular set of activities, and on this occasion the Premier is undertaking a series of meetings.
What do you have to say to the Victorian children of jailed Australian journalist Chung Lei, who are incredibly disappointed that the Premier won't be raising their mother's pride while on this trip? What do you have to say to them?
Look, again, we discussed this on Tuesday. I don't have anything further to add to my comments on Tuesday, or indeed to what the Premier said when he addressed this on Sunday, other than to emphasise this is clearly a sensitive matter. I can understand for the family it's a very sensitive and difficult matter, and it is appropriate that matters of this nature are handled by the Commonwealth government, who have those relationships with countries overseas.
And my understanding is from the matter of Chung Lei is that her partner has, and I think I mentioned this on Tuesday, has been trying to get in touch with the Premier's office. As the acting Premier, have you been briefed if there's been any discussion with the Premier's office and Chung Lei's partner, husband, but just in regards to what he's after from Daniel Andrews by way of representations without a once Victorian citizen?
I have no further information on either this matter or those that we talked about on Tuesday. I just have nothing further to add to that.
His family of Victorian constituents, does the Premier not have a moral obligation to stand up for them?
As the Premier indicated on Sunday, and as I also indicated on Tuesday, these are sensitive matters. They are best and appropriately handled by the Commonwealth, and I've got nothing further to add to those comments.
You said there'll be future trips. Can you guarantee media will be invited?
Well, again, each trip and the makeup of the delegations and the representations of those trips will be assessed on a case-by-case basis, as has been the practice for governments for a very, very long time, depending on which country they're going to, the activities that are being engaged on. Each trip will be determined on a case-by-case basis.
It wasn't the case with this trip,
though. OK, that's where we leave Jacinta Allan. She is the acting Premier, and she is getting a barrage of questions about the transparency of the Premier Daniel Andrews' trip to China.